Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. Today, the question is it safe to travel? Well, let's go find out. So, travel safety is a very, very big question. Matter of fact, it's one of the highly searched terms online, and it's it's always interesting when it comes to travel safety because travel safety for you is different than travel safety for me. And I say that because a lot of it depends on what you look like and where you're staying and things like that. Whenever I travel, I always try to stay in properties. I stick with three main brands, Intercontinental, Hilton, and the Marriott brand. And I know that this goes for all the bigger travel brands too, the Hyatts of the world and things like that. I know that these brands usually have their hotels in safe areas. And so I don't worry about the safety of something. Sometimes you're staying with a hotel brand and they're in like a dodgy part of town and you don't know this because you don't live there. But if you're taking a ride or something and you're driving through the neighborhood, you could tell because, you could tell what the type of neighborhood, if you see like, there's bars on the windows or something like that, then that normally gives you an idea that this neighborhood may not be as safe as you think it would. One of the things too is to listen to your guts and your instinct. Normally, when we travel as humans, we know danger, and this is not a movie. Right? It doesn't resolve itself in the end. Uh, if you feel unsafe, you probably are unsafe. And so you should go into protective mode. This is what we do as humans, and we protect ourselves. I was in Oslo in Norway, and pretty safe place. You don't hear of anything happening in Norway. But I was walking down the street from my hotel, and there was this guy following me. And then I turned around, looked at him, and he looked at me, and I crossed the street, and he crossed the street, and I crossed the street again, and I stopped and I stared at him, and I folded my arms and looked at him, and then he left. So you really need to be careful wherever you go. It doesn't matter where you go. One thing to do to figure out if somewhere is safe to travel is to go. The State Department, travel.state.gov, has a ranking that they give different areas. So go look at that and see what the rankings are. Some places say it's not safe to travel. Lots of people ignore whatever they say, but this is a guide for you to use. And at least you know that there's an issue. And if you need to evacuate or something like that, they're usually able to help you. They do have a system called, I forget what it's called exactly. However, when you go, I think it's called STEP, you go to the website of travel.state.gov, and what you do, you register. So let's say you're going to, I don't know, so you can do this for any country. You register with them, and then they know that you're there. And when something happens, they will notify you that, hey, something is happening. If they have to evacuate you for whatever reason, then they'll know how to contact you. This is not unheard of. This has happened before, where things happen in countries, and what they do, they find out the citizens, the U.S. citizens, and they evacuate them along with other people as well. So this is not, something foreign. Try not to visit places that have just had a disaster, because what that means is that the resources that's there won't be able to help you in case you need help. When during COVID, this was a big issue because a lot of the countries, they were busy taking care of their own people. And so because they're busy taking care of their own people, if you got sick, they can't take care of you, which is why they made you get insurance So at least they can recoup some of the cost of taking care of you in case you get sick. So that was kind of the idea behind that. So just bear in mind that be vigilant, know your surroundings. I know you're trying to look for a place that's cheap, but sometimes a place that you're looking for cheap is not in very good neighborhoods. Don't go taking pictures of, like poor neighborhoods and things like that. Because think about it, if somebody came into your neighborhood and started taking photos of you, how would you like that kind of thing? Try to avoid confrontations. Uh, don't walk down dark streets. Don't do stupid stuff. Don't do stuff that you wouldn't do in your own neighborhoods. Uh, if you have an issue, report it to the local police. They are usually your best bet, or report it to your hotel or something like that. If something the thing is that if you have like travel insurance and you get robbed or something like that, you normally need to have um, a police report or something like that. So make sure you do that. I know it's very traumatic at the time, but if you don't do that kind of stuff, then you won't be able to get properly reimbursed because they won't have any proof of anything that happened, because people do false statements from time to time. If there's a war in a particular country, you should stay out. I know that I've seen a lot of people who've gone to these countries that are war torn, and they still go. Also know that the media reports a lot of things that are not necessarily true. And I know this from like personal experience because they've reported stuff about Jamaica from time to time, that Jamaica is an unsafe place to go, and certain parts of Jamaica are not safe. But the entire country is not like that. And so when you get reports like that, you think, oh my God, the entire country is having problems. You can't go. So just be mindful of that when you see things. If you ask stuff online, people online are always going to tell you about their personal experience. It's not bad for someone to tell you about their personal experience, but just know that that's not the experience that's going to happen all the time. People report that there are problems in Haiti, but then others have gone to Haiti and it's fine. But then others have gone to Haiti, for example, and they've gotten I think they're like kidnapping or something like that. So different things happen in different places, but you don't know why. And so when you travel, just be mindful and be careful when you travel. Crime happens everywhere, including your own backyard. So just know that the fact that uh, you know crime can happen anywhere. So just bear that in mind. Be vigilant. If you're traveling solo, let people know where you're going. So if you don't return, they can send out a search party to look for you. If you're traveling in pairs, it's good to travel in pairs because at least you have somebody else there with you. But still, it's good to always tell someone where you're going. Just so if something happens to you, they can find you. Thankfully, it doesn't happen a lot that people get in trouble whenever they travel in terms of safety, but it does happen. And oftentimes, when it do happen, it's because it's like in aviation. Whenever things happen in aviation, it's because there's a whole. It's not just one thing that happened; it's a group of things that happen to cause whatever the incident or the accident is. It's the same thing with travel safety. Is you're walking down the street and it looks dodgy, and you go, I'm gonna be fine, and then you go further down and you're not fine, and now's the time that you want to retreat and you can't retreat. So be careful when you travel. Be smart. Read up on where you're going. Uh, try to stay in crowded areas, or at least areas that are populated, and you know follow your gut. Seriously, follow your gut. That would be the thing I'd say when it comes to safety. You can always call the hotel and check with the hotel and say, hey, what's the safety like? Some hotels won't tell you anything. I was in Paris. Actually, a friend of mine was in Paris and he was sending me pictures. And right across from this sort of Marriott or AC Marriott or something like that, a car was broken into right in front of the hotel. It was there for 3 days. And they just never, and they have security, but they never looked across the street. So little things like that is really annoying sometimes. So yeah, you can call the hotel and they can say it's fine, and it's not, because things happen, right? So just bear that in mind, that things happen from time to time. Don't if you have to go out from your hotel, don't flash your jewelry. Don't be taking out cash on the streets or something like that. If you need to pay tips and all that kind of stuff, take money out in small quantities, have them in different pockets, and so you can just go in your pocket, take the money out, and give whoever you need to give the money to. Watch out for like snatch and grabs and things like that. People wear fanny packs, but I don't like fanny packs because they kind of make it bulky. But they seem to be helpful. You can put your stuff in different places in your bags. If you're in crowded areas, keep your backpacks in front of you, not behind you, because people can be walking behind you and pick stuff from your bag. Try not to bounce into people, because sometimes when you bounce into people, you'll end up getting pickpocketed. One thing too is in some countries, you will see poor children, and you want to help them because we're human, right? But sometimes when you try to help them, they're part of a scam that an adult is doing. And so, you end up getting in trouble because you're trying to help somebody. So kind of be conscious of that when you travel. Don't let your guard down. Seriously, do not let your guard down. That's probably one of the more important things of travel safety. And I think that's kind of it, right? I mean, there's not much more I can say about that. And of course, have insurance, because if something happens and you need to evacuate or something like that, then at least you have some way of getting out of there. But just read up on where you're going. Check the local papers. One thing you can do too is when you arrive, check the tourism board and say, hey, is this area safe? And the tourism boards, oftentimes they're pretty good about telling you, well, maybe you shouldn't stay in this area. You should probably stay in another area or something like that. Listen to them. And, if you're going to be out money, sometimes your life or your safety is worth being out the money. You can always complain about the money when you get back. But your key is to go, have fun, and come back. So this is Kerwin with Travel Talk. Have a great trip.